We're going to head to the voicemail of Truth and Reason. This one about some later round picks in the upcoming draft.
Hi, Dave, longtime Browns fan. Got a couple of future picks for the Browns. Jelani Woods of West Virginia, 6'7", 270 pounds tight end. In place, kicker Cade York, LSU. Let me know what you guys think of them, too. Love the show. Thank you.
And as always, we appreciate all of our voicemailers. So, Quincy, I will defer to you. Jelani Woods, tight end from Virginia, kicker Cade York from LSU. Your thoughts?
I have pretty, firm thoughts on drafting kickers. I don't think you should really do it, or you should avoid it if you can, just because, not because I don't think kickers are not valuable, right? I think people make that mistake with me all the time. They hear me talk about why I wouldn't draft kickers, and they think, oh, Quincy just doesn't think kickers are valuable and all this stuff. And I get these people to mention me on Twitter and get mad at me. The thing with drafting kickers is that NFL teams are awful at evaluating the kicker position. They have no idea what to look at. And think about it. How would you scout kicker? Nobody knows, right? Nobody has a real idea. There's no science. Are you really looking at their 40 time and the 20-yard show and how much none of that matters. We have this whole process that we have to scout and evaluate players is meant to scout football players, not kickers and punters, or long snappers or anything like that. We really have no great process or no refined process. All the money in the NFL goes towards finding receivers, quarterbacks, defensive ends, linebackers, and all those kind of players. Not really towards kickers. So when we look at this stuff and we talk about drafting a kicker, we also have to factor in that we are bad at evaluating kickers. There's one kicker, Mason Crosby, who has been drafted by his team that was a draft pick. Well, that was a draft pick, obviously, that is still with their originally drafted team. And then there's obviously the guys there's Cincinnati's kicker, and I think the Rams kicker they drafted a couple years ago. No, the Buffalo Bills kicker they drafted a couple years ago, right? So there are three kickers that are with the team that originally drafted them. One of those has gotten a second contract. Out of all the kickers that have been drafted, that's not a good percentage because we're terrible at this. How you usually find a kicker is you just have open trials, right? You just bring in as many undrafted guys, dudes off the street, you have them kick, and then the one dude that doesn't miss, you keep him. And then you figure out if he's your kicker. We are just bad at evaluating this. We have no way to evaluate this, and nobody could come up with a better way to do it. So thinking that you're so good at evaluating kickers that you're going to spend a 5th round pick on a dude where the process has been proven to be unreliable on, that's why. Remember Roberto Aguayo, 2nd round pick? Everybody was so sure he was going to be a great kicker. He was out the league in 2 years. It happens all the time. We are not good at scouting these kickers. We should stop acting like we know what we talking about when it comes to any of these kickers. We had no idea who's going to be good. Nobody was talking about Justin Tucker coming out of Texas, and neither were they talking about Phil Dawson, right? So if we can just accept that, we can change how we can evaluate these guys and change what the process is. We should not look at drafting kickers like we would look at the same process for other football players, because we don't evaluate them like football players. It's a whole different process. And that process for them is undrafted free agency and just getting a bunch of tryouts and seeing if you can stick like that, because it has been proven that we are not good enough at evaluating this position to spend draft picks on it without it usually backfiring.